Hey everyone. So I decided to create a little video. Maybe this can help somebody in the dating world, maybe beyond just women who date men. Maybe this could help other people, hopefully. Granted, for warning, I have this really bad cough. I've been having this cough for like a while. I'm gonna try to like pause the recording and cough so you don't gotta hear all that, but fair warning. So this video is kind of more so like how I kind of tranquilized my codependent nature and stopped, um, basically trained myself to stop falling for the traps that men would set up for me to end up that would lead me into unhappy or abusive relationships. And just for a disclaimer, I'm not saying that all men are abusive or whatever. I'm a woman who so far has dated only men, so I can only go from my experiences with men. Of course, there are abuse comes in many forms and by many different people, so this isn't me trying to imply anything like that. So if you're a woman and you're finding, constantly finding bad relationships, or maybe you just want to be more independent, hopefully this can help you in some way. I think the most important thing, really, as a starter, is to ask yourself why you're getting into these relationships. What do you want in a relationship, and what do you want yourself? And taking time to reflect and really just meditate and think for yourself, like, what do I really want in life and in love and everything. And I had to realize, and like looking back at analyzing and kind of getting away from any negative influencing, like input. Like, like back then, a couple years ago in my late teens, I was in a friend group. We weren't really all friends. It was really, they were friends of my ex, and I was just a girlfriend. But like, they would constantly fill my head with, "Oh no, stay with him. No, it's your fault. You're the one in the wrong. You deserve this." And when you get away from that and just kind of sit and think for yourself, or at least get a more unbiased perspective or opinion, you can kind of sort your feelings and thoughts out in peace. And I really sat and thought for a minute, and I said, well, the reason why I'm getting into these relationships, because there are two different factors here. One, there's a codependency in me, and there's like a lack of like boundary setting that I'm allowing these men to come into my life. And two, there is, the other side, the men, for whatever reason, seeing something in me to abuse and exploit, and which gets me in unhappy situations, and a lot of the times when it comes to abusive situations, it's a two-sided issue that gets framed as one-sided, because in an abusive relationship, the victim is always the blame. The abuser takes no accountability, so everything is kind of formulated to it being your fault somehow. Like, it's always going to be your fault, no matter what. Even if what they did, like, even if they did something that deeply hurt you and you reacted to it, some way it's going to be all your fault. So that's why it's critical to get away from your abuser. I know way easier said than done. People who support your abuser, because you're not going to get an unbiased two-sided perspective. You're always going to get the, oh, it's your fault though perspective. And there's two sides to this coin. It's not just one side. So when I got away from that, and I started thinking for myself and started reflecting, I realized, okay, well, I do have a level of accountability in this. And therapy is also a great thing too, because it kind of helps teaches you these tools to reflect and see red flags and personal accountability. So you cannot control somebody else, and you should not take blame over what someone decided to do to you. You can only control your actions. So identifying what they did versus what you did is the main thing, and sorting that out. And I kind of decided that for me, I can't control men being abusive, but I can control seeing the signs and kind of like not choosing them. So many words. So first, I look within myself, and I'm like, well, what is making me choose? No, well, not making me choose, because really your abuser chooses you. So what is making me allow these abusive relationships, and what is making me so wanting to be in a relationship? And part of it stems with my domestic familial related trauma. That's something that goes with my father related trauma and things like that. Sometimes you gotta do a little bit of digging to kind of do some like mapping to see why you have certain behavior patterns now. But and beyond that, ultimately, I had a codependent issue. I have an issue where I was codependent, and then I thought more. Well, why do I have a codependent issue? What's wrong with me? And and so I basically discovered and I saw that I need to be loved. I don't, maybe I was brought up in a situation where I didn't get a lot of love from my dad. But whatever the case may be, I don't love myself, and I'm looking for love from an external point. Now that's one factor. The other factor is, just a general lack of knowledge of the world, being sheltered, and so I had to kind of equip myself, and just also lack of boundary setting, being a people pleaser, being a quote unquote doormat. So what I learned, the thing that helped me with no longer believing in the fallacies of some of these like toxic relationships have is like, I want to be loved, but in a toxic relationship I will not be loved. I like it creates an illusion like, oh, I'm going to be loved, but you're not really going to be loved because they don't love you, they love the benefits of you. So you staying in this relationship really is going to do nothing for you because you're going to keep on being used. And if you want more, or if you want to be treated as a human, they will either guilt trip you or they will beat you down until you accept the little crumbs that they give you just to keep you around. And it comes to a level of acceptance that's painful. I had to accept that my exes never loved me and will never love me. They love the benefits of me. And if somebody really loved you, they would not treat you that way. So it was a level of like accepting the reality and not believing the fallacies of a toxic relationship. And it's also kind of just also getting information of what love looks like and what love really is, and the red flags, and why these are red flags, and how abusers think and everything, which is kind of a gradual process. And again, therapy really helps you with that knowledge. That's why I so recommend therapy, because it kind of equips you with knowledge that you may have not gotten but you really need. So in a toxic relationship, you will never be loved. Doesn't matter what they say, they will not love you because they love the benefits of you. That's what makes a toxic relationship. And I kind of looked at myself, and my opinions may be a little bit extreme in this regard. So take it with whatever grain of salt you want. But I looked at myself, and I looked at, okay, well, what is something, what are some things about me that may attract an abusive man? And one, it was again the lack of assertiveness and boundary setting, but also two, it was my people pleasing nature. So I kind of learned to grow myself out of that. That's the whole thing. And I looked at myself and it's like, I am a very open, sex positive woman. And of course, I've been called a slut, whore, groomed, everything. So I think another thing is, quote unquote, knowing your vulnerabilities. I don't really see these as vulnerabilities, but the world does, and a lot of men do. So I had to understand kind of like the hand I was dealt, and kind of like know my hand type thing, know my weaknesses, know my natural predators. And a lot of men are going to target me purely because, one, I'm pretty nice. I'm not a mean person. And two, I'm openly sexual. So I have to kind of understand that as much as I don't think it's fair, men are going to see me as a sexual object purely for being open in this way. And I could sit here, and again, a level of personal accountability, I could sit here and get mad about it, but I can't control them. I can't control what the men are going to want to do to me. But at the same time, again, it's a two-sided thing. I don't have to settle for that. I don't have to settle for a guy who thinks I'm a slut because I'm open, but doesn't care if other guys are open. I don't have to settle for this, and that's the ultimate thing too. You don't have to settle. You don't have to be in a relationship. Like, one, if you get into a relationship like that, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be loved. You're going to be used. And two, you don't need a relationship. Period. And when I really thought about these things, like, yeah, you don't need a relationship. You don't need a man or a woman or whatever. You don't need an external source of love or validation. You can validate yourself. And when I learned to love myself and learn how to find peace in being alone, that's when I really saw true power within myself, because now I don't need an external force to love me. I love me. And it takes a long time to get to that. It's way easier said than done. But when you just kind of start meditating on that and making that a big fundamental part of your life, like learning how to become self sufficient and learning how to fuel yourself and learning how to put up less. And because once you start learning and initiating the progress of getting yourself out of that pit of codependency and learning how to, love yourself and stand up for, settle for less, and not settle for less, and not put up with so much, then it really is only up from there. Because I think for me, self love and self improvement is a steadily increasing thing. So the more you do it, the higher it gets. Like it's an exponential growth type thing, and you'll just settle for less and less and less, and want more and more and more. And the beautiful thing about that is that the quality as you are as a human, what you put out is exactly what you deserve. So if you are putting out the work of being a good human and you are of a certain stature, you deserve exactly what you put out. And no one has the right to tell you that you don't, because you're putting oh god, because you're putting in the work in. You are putting in the work to be a good human. So why deserve less? If you're working hard and you're working hard, so you deserve a raise, you got a raise. No one can sit here and tell you didn't deserve that raise, or you should get paid less, or get paid like everybody. No, because you put the work in. If you put the work in, you deserve someone else that puts the work in. You're not high maintenance, you're not shallow, you're not hypergamous. No, if you are putting in the work to be a good person, then you deserve an equally good person. That's how that works. And I think a lot of good natured people get stuck into this mindset like, oh, nice guys finish last or whatever. No, nice people deserve nice things. It's just that we live in a corrupt world that will trick the nice person into being put in a position of being like a supply and a resource, as opposed to a virtue that needs to be respected and treated with love and compassion. So that's kind of more that's kind of the things that I developed in life to help me with my issues in regards to toxic and abusive relationships. I really hope this can help somebody else, and I really hope we can all learn how to grow and improve, because life is crazy. But one step at a time. Every day is a win in some way. And take good care of yourself.